All right, we're live.
All right, Roberta, you ready for us?
I am ready, thank you.
Okay, welcome to the Creswell City Council work session for May 24th, 2021. I will open the meeting by doing roll call by name. Councillor Clark.
Councillor Clark is present.
Councillor Castilla.
Councillor Castilla present.
Councillor Hutchinson.
Councillor Hutchinson present.
Councillor Inman.
Maybe Councillor Inman present.
Councillor Medina.
Councillor Medina present.
And Councillor Pachu.
Councillor Pachu is present.
All right, Mayor Knutsen's present. We're all here. Next up is the mayor's report. I have nothing to report, so we'll move on to number 3, which is the committee reports. First up is the Administration and Finance Committee, and that is Councillor Castilla.
And there's no report tonight, Mayor.
All right, moving on to Public Safety Committee, Councillor Inman.
Thank you, Mayor. So there's no report tonight. However, our next Public Safety Committee meeting will be June 8th at 5:30 p.m.
Awesome. Next up is Transportation and Public Works Committee, and that is Councillor Pachu.
And there is no report tonight because the committee has not met, but we too will be meeting on the 7th of June at 5:30 p.m. So
excellent. Next up is Parks and Tree Advisory Board, and that's Councillor Hutchinson.
There is nothing to report for that either, but we will meet tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Awesome. Next up is Airport Commissioner or Commission, and that's Councillor Castilla.
Again, that is a no report, Mayor.
All right. Next up is LCOG, and that's me, and I don't have anything to report. We did meet last month, but nothing of note that pertains to Creswell. So next up is Lane Act, and that is Councillor Clark.
Well, hello. So Lane Act did meet in May, and we actually spent quite a bit of time talking about the Lane Act vision and kind of talked about key terms and definitions for their working vision and kind of strategic planning session. And so we talked a lot about just essentially like, how does this apply to all of the different areas that Lane Act represents. And so one of the things that I would recommend, and this came up at the end of our session, is actually spending quite a bit of time within this council and this group and getting feedback on the strategy and vision session from the Creswellians. And so that might be a future agenda item I would recommend. There is a lot to it. And so it would probably take quite a bit of time to kind of go over that and talk about all the different pieces and talk about really specifically how that impacts Creswell. And so that is really mostly what we spent our time talking about. And so anyway, so that is my recommendation, is maybe for our June work session.
All right, Manager Amberg, I know Maddie attends the Lane Act as well, and she is out this week, so maybe we could discuss this with Maddie and see what we can discuss as a council to further Lane Act's strategies and how that pertains to Creswell.
Okay, we can make that arrangements for that. Probably not at the next work session though, probably the following, maybe in August.
Okay, sounds good. That is it for our committee reports. Next up is presentations, and we do have someone from Creswell Clubhouse if you want to introduce yourself, and I'll leave it to you.
Awesome, thank you. That was an easy work session report time. I like it. So I will say, when Michelle asked me to speak to you guys, which I'm so excited to do, I've been wanting to do this for a while. She said, I told her I only needed about 5 minutes, and she says, well, usually people take 20. I said, I guess I'll just keep talking. We'll start with the history and move forward. So I like having all that time. So first, first I want to say I chose 3 words to describe how I'm feeling and what's going on right now for Clubhouse. And they are gratitude, miracles, and excitement. I am so grateful for all the support we're getting, first from the city and now from volunteer organizations and parents and different people. I go to buy a used whiteboard, and it's somebody that used to go to Clubhouse's parent, and they give me discounts and offer to do things. And like everywhere I go, I'm just kind of running into these little miracles that occur where people are being helpful, and I feel very blessed right now, and it's making it very easy to move forward. So I just wanted to start with saying that. And so I'm going to go ahead and share kind of the history of Clubhouse a little bit. I know you guys got the document, so I'll try not to regurgitate the same information that you've already got. But I'll do the history, a little bit about our program, the move into Cobalt, and then future plans and ideas that I've got. So for the history of Clubhouse, it was started by a University of Oregon Family and Human Services major doing her senior project. And she partnered with United Way of Lane County. It was the RSVP program, Retired Senior Volunteer Program, and worked with Jackie Robinson, who was the principal over at the elementary school at that time. And they brought in teams of AmeriCorps workers. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was probably 15 years, 18 years ago. I don't know. And the teams came in and they started Clubhouse 2 afternoons a week for 3rd and 4th graders for 12 students. And the AmeriCorps teams worked with them one-on-one, helping with homework, and they did snack and played recess and that kind of thing. And at that time, I had worked in Crestwell when I was very young for the YMCA at the after-school program called ACE. And so I was aware that there was something going on in Crestwell. I had gone back to school and I Googled Crestwell to see what was going on. And I saw that they had a parent group that was putting the park together. They were building all the new park equipment and raising money. And then I stumbled on this thing called Crestwell Clubhouse and sent an email over to the school, came for a visit, and was invited to join the leadership team. And from there, it just kind of snowballed bigger and bigger. We had some U of O students continue to run it. We had an AmeriCorps person run it for a while after the teams left. And eventually I stepped in and said, I'll run it. I was in school. I had time. And so I just kind of took it on. And wow, 15 years later, I'm sitting here. But so I basically built the program really slowly, adding a day a week every year, adding another grade every year, and just slowly built it from that base of 12 kids up to where we are now, which is 75 children registered in the summer, 75 in the school year, 50 in the summer. Generally, we serve 100 to 125 children from Crestwell every year. And we took a budget that was $300 a year for the first year and gotten that up to $175,000 a year. So it just was a very slow, it took probably 6 or 7 years to build the program to a 5-day a week, 30 or more children, just really solid. But I love doing it, and it kind of matched my trajectory personally. When I was in school, I had time to do that kind of thing. And by the time I graduated, it was sustainable enough that I could do that as a job. So that worked out really well for Crestwell, me, and Clubhouse. And the other piece about this is that I had a choice to make, and this is kind of a little bit about me and why I stayed at Clubhouse, but I had a choice to make. I was working nationally for a group called Youth Move National and also doing the Crestwell Clubhouse. And at some point, right after I graduated, I had to choose. Do I want to do this national work, or do I want to do really, really local work? And I chose the local work. I felt like I could make a bigger impact where I was needed the most there. because Crestwell really doesn't have a lot going on for kids. You know, they can't take ballet classes, they can't take gymnastics. You know, there's a lot of things that you have to drive to Eugene to get to do. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to stay in Crestwell, focus my energy there, and bring these kids as much as I can. As much as I can figure out to offer them, I will. And so for my grad school dissertation, I did a sustainability evaluation on Crestwell Clubhouse. And we did interviews, focus groups, and surveys of parents, children, school staff, community members, community leaders, to kind of flesh out, you know, how much should we charge? What kind of program do we want to see? Where should the program be located? We just kind of had a group of questions that we asked each of these groups and created a set of goals and a plan for the future. And we're still working off of that set of goals and the plan. And I was kind of thinking to myself recently, it might be time to pull in another group of University of Oregon students to do a sustainability evaluation of our program again for the next, 10 or 15 years moving forward. So that's kind of where that piece is at. The program design is part of the reason our program's designed the way it is to serve children the best. It's very educational. We have the Brain Zone room and our main club room. And the Brain Zone room is homework, education, reading, math. They sit with a University of Oregon student at a grade level table, so we'll have 2 to 5 first graders sitting at a table with a University of Oregon student. They'll help them all do their homework, and we stay in communication with teachers. And I actually get copies of the homework because I was getting too many people saying they didn't have any. It wasn't true. So someone go, "Oh, you don't have it? Here it is. We have a copy. You can still do it. Amazing." But the other piece with our program model, besides being highly educational, is that piece of pulling University of Oregon students that help run the program. As a recent graduate, when I was starting the program, value of those students, and I also knew the system. And so I was able to partner up with University of Oregon so that we can hire work study students. And those are students that are on financial aid, and they get an award from the federal financial aid to pay for work study. And it's a win-win because we pay half of their salary and the federal government pays half of their salary. And we get all these amazing students. I don't only hire work study students, but predominantly, and I try to hire those work study students. We also have a contract in place with the Family and Human Services Department, and so every term we get interns from their department, and we just started really locking that in a couple of years ago, but it's turned into where we have an intern every term from their department. And then when they're seniors, they get to pick a site that they focus on. And so we've had a gal last year that spent her whole school year working with me. And to our benefit, she wanted to focus on fundraising. So she helped me do a lot of fundraising, including after we closed. We both kept working together remotely and received a grant from the Templeton Foundation that would carry us through until we could reopen. So that was like her big win, is getting a grant, even though we weren't really doing anything, but it saved us. So yeah, working really closely with those U of O students and keeping the program educational is big pieces of Clubhouse. The other stuff we do is, we have snack, we have recess, normal stuff, and then we have enrichment clubs. So all the children go through Brain Zone every day. And they also get to hand choose, they sit down with me 3 times a year and choose their fun clubs. And those are things like space club, choir, dance, movie making club. I have a huge list of them. They're in the packet. You saw them. Community helpers club. And probably our most, we have a couple of famous clubs, but community helpers is one of the favorites. It is a group of children, and they choose to sign up for this, and they're really into it. Their goal is to help the school, help the community, and help Clubhouse. And so we do fundraising projects, we paint signs, we make all the decisions for Clubhouse. If there's something that children can make a decision on, I take it to the Community Helpers Club and have them kind of flesh out how they see Clubhouse being, because I tell them it's your house, not mine. And so that group is my core group that I can go to also when, if things are getting a little rough, lines are getting loud, kids are arguing too much, that kind of thing, I'll pull that group together and say, hey, community helpers, I need your help. Here's what's going on. And they see it too. And they'll say, okay, we'll come up with a plan on what can you say to people? How can you help? And they're just really active in Clubhouse, and I love that about them. The other clubs also, I want to bring in things that aren't available to children in Crestwell unless they drive to Eugene. Like, I taught hip hop dance. I was getting ready to teach ballet right before we got closed, and I went to performing arts high school, so dance for dance. And so it was kind of fun. I haven't done it in years, and we didn't have anybody to teach dance, so I said, I'll do it. It was so fun, and I'm going to keep doing it. I think that it helped me be in shape too. But the kids loved it. I told them I also knew ballet, but I had learned ballet from a Russian ballet teacher, and very strict. None of this laughing nonsense in class. And I said, do you guys want ballet? And they were like, yes, we want ballet. Do that Russian ballet teacher to us, Laura. So they were ready for me to be super strict and do the Russian ballet teacher with them, which I'm going to do this summer. Let's see. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry. So, yeah, the enrichment clubs are just there to give them things to explore. I say we like to give children opportunity to explore their interests, and then they can find their passions. And there's research out there that say if children or teenagers are into something, they're way more apt to graduate, way more apt to not get pregnant in their teenage years. It just, even no matter what it is, sports, dance, a reading club, whatever they're connected to, it helps. And so just kind of helping them find what they're into by offering as much as we can for them to explore what they want to do. The other piece, besides our U of O staff, is volunteers. And every year we have a group of middle school and high school volunteers. A lot of them come out of Clubhouse as they start to get older. Generally, sixth graders, I think they just like to take a break from Clubhouse, like it's a little thing, I don't know. But it seems like as soon as they hit seventh grade, they are ready to come back. Can we volunteer? And the high school students, two of the gals working for me right now graduated Crestwell High School, and they came and volunteered their junior year, like clockwork. Every day they'd walk in at 3:30 and help out in Brain Zone sitting at a table, and they were so good at it. So their senior year, they walked through the door the first day of school, and I was floored because they hadn't contacted me. They just came in to work, to volunteer. And I said, you know what, girls? You're hired. So I hired both of them for their senior year to work Brain Zone. And now they are sophomores starting junior year next year and still with me. One little gal, Kayla, she's on our board now. When she was in second grade, she started coming to Clubhouse. Her whole family was a Clubhouse family. She volunteered through middle school and high school. First teenager I ever hired. When she turned 16, I hired her to work summer camp and help out with our walks to Holt Park and eating lunch and coming back. And she stayed all the way, through 4 years of college and only left when she moved back east. But she's staying on the board and attending all meetings remotely. She loves Clubhouse. So there's kind of this piece where we connect into the teenagers even, and I always tell the kids at Clubhouse, if you go to U of O or LCC, because I've had contracts with them too, if you go to those schools, you're hired. You have a guaranteed job at Clubhouse because you know what Clubhouse is about. And so that's happened a few times now. As they keep going, and I'm sure there'll be more and more. But definitely love that piece of Crestwell kiddos seeing Crestwell teenagers or young adults going to college and being able to connect to that and knowing that they can also achieve that same goal because they did. So that's just a little piece about our volunteers that I love dearly. I mean, I got, when I posted that we were reopening on Facebook, I got 3 different middle school and high schoolers reach out to me on the email. By the way, their skills on the email have totally improved. They would have never emailed me last year. This year, they're like, "Hi, Laura, it's Nikki. Do you remember me?" You know, "Yeah, I remember you." You're emailing. So responsible. Scanning and emailing their volunteer apps back. I'm a little blown away at how amazing their computer skills have gotten. So we already have, I have about, well, I have a list. I have six volunteers that have signed up to work this summer, and we can only have 2 a day. So I'm sitting there making a schedule for them. Normally I would just say, "Come and go when you want," you know, but I'm having to actually schedule volunteers, and they're loving it. They're eating that up. So any questions about the history or the program design before I move on to Cobalt in the future?
I don't see any questions, so I think we can move forward.
Okay. So now I'm going to move forward to last March when we had just done our annual spaghetti dinner 10-year celebration. Had a newspaper article. It was the best spaghetti dinner ever. And that was that following Friday was when we got the "we're closing everything" call. So we went from like the top of our game to a dead stop. And that's okay, you know. I'm okay with in those situations. Then I got an email from the school saying we needed to move all our things off campus. They were going to use the room for storage. I was a little panicky when they said that. Tried to get them to commit that they were going to let us back in, so I knew what to expect when this was over. Never really got communicated with about that. The year went by, and I started feeling like it was getting time to reopen for summer. Like, we need to open back up for summer. And so I turned in a facility use request like I have for 15 years, and it was denied. So I reached out to Michelle with an email headlined, "Clubhouse needs facility." I wasn't even messing around anymore. I'm just like, this is what we need if we're going to live. And she got back to me immediately. We met the very next day over at the Cobalt building. Thank you, Michelle. And we kind of toured around, and you know, the building was being used before. Now it was empty. She offered to let Clubhouse use the building. It was perfect. So I said yes. Ever since that moment, it's been one kind of miracle, coincidence, amazing thing after the other. For the first couple of weeks, I was having something happen every single day. Another grant, another person that was going to help, another contractor that would say yes, even though they were booked out till August. Looking at the building, you know, we're doing some retrofitting, remodeling kind of things in the middle of the busiest contractor season in my lifetime. And people have literally put the halt on other high-paying jobs, driven out there and fixed that building for us. Floors are going in starting today. So I'm so grateful for all the contractors, too, that have said yes, even though they are booked solid through July and August. They understand the importance, I think, of the kids needing something to do and that they shouldn't be the ones losing out. So getting tons of support that way. So for the building itself, we are putting in new floors. We added a kitchenette in one of the rooms so we could do our snacks and all that kind of thing. Painting. We just moved all of our stuff in last week to the gym and filled it. And I'm looking at all these boxes. There was 2 or 3 of us that were there, you know, 2 or 3 staff that were there with me. We're tearing up just to see our stuff. We didn't realize, A, how much we missed each other, B, how much we missed the stuff. And I can't tell you how excited we are to have the kids back. We're just chomping at the bits. It can't happen fast enough. So lots going on in that building. We're going to make it look amazing. Kids deserve it. I had a meeting with kiddos. They picked the floor, they picked the countertops, they picked the color schemes that we're using. Normally I'd have them really helping even more, but it's kind of hard right now because we're not open. So we're working on getting that building ready. We should be able to start unpacking boxes starting next week. The staff is meeting every Wednesday. We're starting to plan out our schedule. We've got a partnership that we started with, I don't know if it's a partnership, I probably shouldn't call it that. But we're working with the Crestwell Library with Nick, because usually on Fridays in the summer, we walk over to Holt Park, eat lunch, and then go to the library. We can't do that this summer. And so I threw out to Nick, hey, how about we do Crestwell's Library Reading Club over at Clubhouse? And he agreed. So he's coming into Clubhouse every week, Wednesdays at 2. And he's going to bring a new batch of books from the library. He's going to help the kids track their summer reading hours and turn in their cards and do all that kind of thing. Maybe read some books out loud. So we found a way to incorporate the library, even though we couldn't go to them. So I'm also grateful to Nick, who's coming to us for this. The state did loosen up the COVID restrictions, this much, and we're going to be able to go to Holt Park for lunch. 3 weeks ago, they said 0 field trips, none. And then they put out a new updated guidelines that said that we could do field trips and that we should avoid other groups of children. And so we're going to go to the park a little, play early, eat our lunch to the side on, over on the grass, and then go back to Cobalt. And so hopefully we'll have less interaction with kiddos. Usually it's after lunch that the kids are like crowded out there playing. But kind of excited that we get to do the regular walk to Holt Park. It breaks our day up, and it's fun. It's a different playground, and I'll tell you, it wears those kids out. By the time we get back from a hot lunch, they're ready for Chillax Club, which, believe it or not, is one of the first clubs that is requested when I say, what club do you want to do in the summer? They want Chillax Club. We divide into 2 groups. One listens to a book out loud and colors. The other one, I put on like this child meditation story time kind of thing off YouTube, and they color, and we turn the lights down, and it's quiet time, and they love it. I'm always shocked that they love that kind of thing, but they do. So excited about being able to do Holt Park. Excited that we're allowed to have volunteers. We weren't, 3 weeks ago, the answer was no on volunteers. Now we can. It just has to be a little limited. We have 30 children signed up right now. We're allowed to have 36 signed up with 30 a day attend. And so looking at my numbers, I have room for 4 more full-time kiddos, and then we're full. And it's not June yet. So really our sign-up numbers are similar to those pre-COVID on campus. So I'm kind of going, whew, because I wasn't exactly sure what was going to happen. But looks like we're going to have a full house. I did limit registration to 4 or 5 days a week instead of doing, like, usually I do 3, 4, or 5 days a week and weekly signups also. But because we can only have 36 children, usually we have 50. I just said, okay, we're going to have to like kind of crunch down on what we can offer this summer. I absolutely will be going back to our normal program offerings for summer next year, I'm assuming. So it's happening, and we've got kids coming and excited parents. They're very happy about this. Let's see, anything else exactly? Oh, so I'm trying not to make too many plans because I'm super busy being a general contractor right now and starting to plan, like the summer program and what clubs are happening when and getting all the enrollment things together. We had to restart insurance, restart payroll, restart a lot of things. And so I'm kind of putting a pause on any immediate new plans. But I do have my little handy dandy, what I want to do in the future kind of stuff. And one of the things I want to do is offer hip hop and ballet, tumbling, and some sort of martial arts classes for the general public to be able to sign up for also. And so it would be like a regular class that you would go to in Eugene or something where you pay, well, I'll charge less. I looked up the prices for gymnastics classes, and they want like $60 to $80 a month for a 1 hour class. I was floored at how much that is. I was thinking like about $40 a month. So we're going to have good prices too, because we're not trying to make money. We're trying to break even. And so hopefully in the fall or soon thereafter, we'll be able to begin offering some classes that other children can also participate in, even if they don't need the after school program or after school care. They still can have something to do. Another thing I'm kind of tossing around is offering a Friday night teen night. And I'm hoping I can find an FHS intern to kick this off and take the lead on being open on Friday nights from like 7 to 10 for anybody that's got the school ID in hand, you know, and DJ club, maybe play some music. If there's a local band that wants to play, come play. You know, hang out. It is a kid's space, but it's pretty cool. We got pool tables and a ping pong table, foosball, big TV, and video games. I think teenagers could find something to do, and I think they might like it. So I'm kind of hemming and hawing about doing a teen night. And then as those classes I was talking about maybe grow, if it's a success, maybe start offering, you know, like preschool ballet, preschool tumbling, like start expanding those age groups that we're serving, because we have enough room, and it's just a matter of organizing it and finding the right staff to run it. And in the long run, I would like to do that. The other thing I'm hoping to do in the long run is get some more playground equipment going outside of the Cobalt building. The city has totally, and this is thanks to Michelle and Cliff, put a fast track on the things that we needed done in the building, and they've also put a fast track on starting that playground outside the swings. They're putting in the 3, you know, alter-able swings, which we're going to totally be able to play with. But I've bought like a portable basketball hoop, volleyball, anything portable I can buy, I've been buying so we can play with it out there. But really the goal is to throw down some sort of play structure that has a couple of levels to climb on, a slide to go down, a pole to go down, something to scream and yell and go up the top of and come back down. And that goal would be trying to get something like that in within a year. Hopefully. They're very expensive. So there's already one grant in the works that we're waiting to hear back from, and I heard mid-June I will hear back from, and part of that grant I put in playground equipment. I also have a really good relationship with Cow Creek Foundation. They've given us 3 grants in the past, and I feel like if we ask for some more money to help with playground equipment, that they would absolutely work with us to help us get that money. So I have some ideas about funding for it, and just we're going to need some sort of playground thing out there. And it's nice too, because really that's for the community. Anything outside is going to be for all the children in the neighborhood can use it, you know, when they want. So it's just kind of adds benefit to the building, not only for us, but for everybody. So I like that. And that pretty sums up my future plans that I have right now. And that's Clubhouse in a nutshell, and the Cobalt building being remodeled. I can't wait to show you guys the after pictures and what it's going to look like. We're really going all out. The main room, the kids picked purple and blue for their colors, and I'm like buying purple and blue lights and purple. Everything I can find purple and blue, I'm buying it. We're going to make it look cool. So I think they're going to be pretty excited when they walk in the first day. That's the plan.
Thank you so much, Laura. This sounds like what the Cobalt building has been needing for years. It's the empty space that has been vacant and not being utilized. This just sounds like such a great plan, and I'm just so excited for the kids that get to use it, the possible teens that come in, everybody that gets to utilize our building. I'm just so happy. So if anybody has any other questions or comments for Laura, please speak up.
Laura, I just wanted to say thank you for your dedication to the youth and everything, and your excitement when you deal with them is absolutely amazing, and it really brings Clubhouse to life. And I know my girls loved when they went there, and one's already excited to hopefully volunteer. So it's great to have you back. Yeah,
Thank you.
she'll keep them straight. But yeah, it's great to have you back, and we appreciate it greatly.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I've been joking with the teachers. I said, I just had a year off. So I am like hyperactive, chatty Cathy, ready to go. And they're like, their hair's like, they're like, I'm like, I got it. You just pass them to me. I got it.
Yeah.
And I think the kids are going to like that all of our staff and myself have this fresh energy, because I'm sure they can feel the kind of despair going on at school, and to walk into somebody that's woo, what, I think they're gonna like that.
It's been a rough year for our kids, so
Yep.
very much appreciate new people coming in, new energy, and I'm sure they will see it too. So thank you so much. We're so happy to have you at the Cobalt building, and I can't wait until we can all get together and do a tour of it and see everything.
Yes.
That would be
Yes.
really great in the future. Councilor Castilla.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, that it's kind of unfortunate. I don't know if we're going to be able to do a grand opening, and maybe it's that we have a grand opening in the fall. I don't know, or video soft opening and then a big grand opening in the fall. Just kind of playing that by ear.
Okay. I think Councilor Castilla has his hand up.
Oh, yes, just it was nice meeting you, Laura, and really appreciate your leadership in the Clubhouse and your energy. And yeah, it's a win-win for Crestwell. Keep up the good work.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we look forward to working with you, and hopefully if there's anything else that we can help with, please let us know. And I'm sure Manager Amberg is available to help with any questions, and sounds like Cliff has been involved as well. Our Public Works crew has been great. So thank you so much.
Yeah, Michelle and Cliff have been absolutely amazing. So thank you to them too.
Good to hear. All right, if there's no other questions or comments, we will move on to our next agenda item. That is our discussion item, reciting the Pledge of Allegiance at meetings, and that is Manager Amberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just do a quick introduction, and then you can, I'll open the floor for discussion, because this is really a city council discussion item. It's not really up to me, but when we went to virtual meetings, the Pledge of Allegiance was not something that was included on the agendas going forward. However, there's been a request to start doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and there are a few technical things and a few kind of logistical things that need to be discussed in order to make sure that it's successful if the City Council so chooses to add it back onto the agenda. Of course, the City Council always said the Pledge of Allegiance when we were meeting in person, and I would assume that that would resume here in the near future as soon as we can come back to in-person meetings. So this would just be for the next few months for when we have our virtual meetings. And I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Manager Amberg. So thank you, Councilor Hutchinson and Councilor Castillo. You guys both reached out to me and asked that this be put on a future agenda. Councilor Hutchinson, you did have a couple of good ideas on how we could do this logistically. I think one of them was that each of us take a turn reciting it. So part of the problem is all of our mics, when we all talk at the same time, it gets very muddled. We also don't have a flag to salute each time. So these are just, so Manager Amberg was, how should the flag be displayed? That was one of the questions she had. Who will lead the Pledge of Allegiance? Will all our microphones be live, or do we want to just have a counselor take turns each time? What will everyone recite it, or just the selected person that's mic is hot? And what will be displayed on the video screen? So that's the flag as well. And so I just want to open this up for discussion with council on your ideas. This was not, the Pledge of Allegiance hasn't been said in virtual meetings since we went to virtual meetings in March 2020. When Mayor Zetterval was chairing the meetings and we all went to virtual, we just went forward. Nothing was said about eliminating the Pledge of Allegiance, and nothing was said about how do we do the Pledge of Allegiance. We just went forward with trying to hold our meetings as best as we could in a virtual setting. Now that we've all kind of gotten used to it and we have new council members, I see it's important to some of you to discuss on how we go forward with this, because what we thought was going to be a very short time period of having virtual meetings turned into over a year now. And it looks like it might be another month or two before we get back into in-person meetings. So going forward into our next meetings, I would like to know how council would like to go forward with this. So I'm opening the floor for discussion. Councilor Medina.
For some of the questions, like the flag to be displayed, I noticed some do it just the digital, just like on the whatever the computer screen's displaying. I think that would probably be the easiest to get around, the flag. As for taking turns, I know I'm willing to take turns, or or do it whatever we decide, whatever everyone else's opinion is on it. And let's see, recite just one select person. So yeah, so I'd like to hear from someone else.
All right. So a digital flag display and then possible taking turns is a couple of ideas out there. And then I think Councilor Castilla.
Sure. Yes. I just wanted to say that the when the Pledge of Allegiance, when it was first overlooked, just for whatever reason, I was kind of wondering when we first had our virtual meeting. My first thought was, well, I wonder how we're going to do the pledge, and then it didn't happen, and I was kind of like, well, maybe that's okay, because it just seemed kind of awkward on how we're going to do, how it would be done, because technically we need to stand and face the flag, hands on our heart, or if you're military, a salute, whatever, to give that proper so anyway, yeah, so it's how do we do it, and how do we do it correctly? I guess we could display that flag, but then then each and every one of us, we should have to stand and say the pledge. So then do we move our cameras around, or I saw one of these cities here says they play a YouTube version of the pledge for virtual meetings. Maybe that kind of that might be sounds too easy. I wonder what type of video they actually play. Maybe that's something we could look at. I don't know.
So that's
but however we do it, we should do it right, because whatever we do is going to be subject to criticism. So I hope we can do it right.
And I guess it's up to the city council to decide what is right for the council. So the city of Coburg does play the YouTube version, and they play it beforehand, and then they go, you can look it up on YouTube, and then they go into their meeting. Some don't do it at all. Some have been doing it in person and then not doing it all. Cottage Grove has been doing it in person, and so is the city of Crestwell. Since Cottage Grove has been virtual, they haven't been doing it virtually. So we are getting into territory of unknowns versus other cities. So what we decide is right for our city is what we decide. And that's kind of the discussion that all the counselors need to have tonight on how we want to proceed. If it's a virtual flag and we all say it off camera, one says it. If it's standing up and saluting a particular flag that's only on one camera, these are the logistics and the protocols that we need to kind of figure out as a council.
Can we maybe shoot for like how we've done it in the past, where we maybe can we show a shot of the flag in our up in the dais, and I think the mayor always led, or we can take turns or whatever. That would be different, or something like that. As close as to how we've always done it.
Right. So that was my thought process as well. As Roberta is actually at the dais. Even during our virtual meetings, and she's the only person in council chambers right now, and there is a flag there. So if we wanted to have Roberta's camera showing the flag and us saluting that, then that's an option. And then if you want me to lead it, if we're all talking at the same time though, that's where our mics start to conflict. Versus when we're in council chambers and we're all speaking, then our mics aren't hot and they're not all conflicting with one another. But when we're virtual, I think we saw this when we did the swearing in of the new counselors, their mics kept cutting out and we couldn't hear all of them, and it was just very muddled. And I don't think that that's the proper way to salute the flag and to say the Pledge of Allegiance. So those are the logistical things that we need to figure out how to go forward with. I think it was Councillor Prachu and then Councillor Inman.
Actually, to be fair, I think it was Councillor Inman first.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. I see hands up and I don't know who's first. All right, Councillor Inman.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Prochu. So I'm in a little bit of alignment there with Councillor Castilla of I'm interested in the Coburg, and let me find it here, the YouTube version of the pledge. I think definitely virtual for the flag. And then it would be nice, I think, for all of us to do it, but you made the point of having the muddleness, and I don't think that would be the appropriate way to do the pledge. So whether it's LED or is the YouTube version, do you know? Because I tried to Google it, I didn't have much luck. Is it actually the flag and the pledge that's announced? Do you know? Okay.
If I can jump in here, it's my understanding that it is someone saying the Pledge of Allegiance with the image of a flag.
Okay.
As being the image that you see.
Okay. Okay. I would also, I think, be okay with whether taking turns or the mayor leading, depending what everybody's comfortability level is, of course.
Okay. Councillor Prachu.
I definitely agree that it would be difficult to coordinate all of us trying to do the pledge together. I have a hard enough time with my family trying to sing happy birthday, and that's in person. So I would also suggest, as far as the standing piece, that's going to be somewhat logistically difficult. For those of us that have like our cameras built into our laptops and lifting them up, that would be easy enough. Me personally, I have a stationary camera, so if I stand, you're going to see my midsection, and nobody wants to see that. So
Yeah, logistically that as well. So are we okay with, do we want to all stand? Do we want to sit? How do we want to do that? So we have to consider that, because I also have a stationary camera And if I stand up right now, yeah, my head's going to be cut off. Counselor Hutchinson.
I agree that it is hard for everybody to sync together at once and say it, but if maybe we start the meeting off with the YouTube version, at least it's getting done.
Okay. I think Counselor Medina, do you have your hand up again?
Oh yeah, I just for the standing, you know, I'm a stickler when it comes to the pledge and everything being done right. You know, being a vet myself, I take it very seriously. But in these times, I mean, I don't have an issue at all with just saying it sitting down, because standing is a huge on camera is a huge pain and would just be, you know, kind of a nightmare. Honestly, I think it's just more of us, someone or us just saying it and sticking with that. I think sitting down doing it would be just fine.
Okay.
I'd be comfortable.
Okay. Counselor Castillo, is your hand up again?
Yes, yes. I just, I would agree that either it's sitting, because I too have the stationary camera. It would just be a lot of awkwardness and moving around and stuff, and the pledge would be halfway over by the time, you know, I'm sitting there looking correctly, and or the video. You know, the video probably sounds like the easy way out, but it would maybe make more sense just to put up some sort of video. But I too could not find the video, so I mean I don't know what exactly what they're talking about.
Okay. Counselor Inman, is your hand up again?
It is, thank you. So I think you know, after hearing conversation, I would definitely be more interested in the YouTube version. I myself don't feel comfortable sitting with the Pledge of Allegiance. However, I do have a portable system that I could lift up. But myself, I couldn't sit and do that. So I would say more of a YouTube version if that's how people are feeling.
Okay. So if we did a YouTube, I just want to get it correct with everybody, like a YouTube flag, and then one of us reciting the pledge and the rest of the cameras being off or not being in the screen, and then we all stand and salute and say the pledge, even though you may or may not be on a mic. Is that what we're thinking? I just want to get us all on the same page here. Counselor Hutchinson?
I would say try finding the YouTube flag with somebody reciting it all in one.
With somebody reciting it. Okay. Counselor Praccio?
I was just going to say that would probably be the best way to go. The way that the flag video would be shared would also be, I guess somebody would have to activate screen share at that point and then start the video. So I think it could be done either way. With Teams, I know that you can play a video and then have somebody else unmuted and doing something. So either way could work as far as technical feasibility, I guess.
And I guess my technological skills are like, oh, anything can be done. So I'm asking if Mr. Piper is our tech guy that usually streams and makes our meetings look nice. So if he can come up with something that can represent a flag and a recording of somebody, is that what we're thinking of?
I think there's less room for error if you have it all combined into a single thing. So like a video that has the audio and everything. So,
right.
Yeah.
Mr. Piper, if you have any logistical, technical things to add.
I would just concur with Council President Prochu that less can go wrong when it's all in one video stream.
Okay.
One person could share it, but then their video of their person would be a little tiny box at the bottom of the screen with their desktop sharing the flag. So
Okay.
that would be my only input on that.
Okay. So then we need to make some sort of recording with a flag background and somebody reciting the pledge, and then that's what we would play before meetings. Is that what everybody's saying?
I think Jim could probably find the YouTube and play it before the meetings. I don't think we need to actually record anything. I think we can find out where that location is from the city of Coburg, and then Jim can just play it at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay. If everybody's comfortable with that setup, I mean, I'm okay with that. That seems to be the easiest part of this. And honestly, I mean, we have a couple more virtual meetings, I feel like, and then, you know, depending on when we can meet in person, then of course it's going to go back to all of us at the dais and all of us facing the flag and doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we can come up with an interim solution that council feels is sufficient, then that seems okay to me. Councilor Castillo, I think your hand's up again.
Yes, just for clarification, the video, while the video is playing, then councilors would be off screen?
I think councilors will be off screen because Jim will have to share his screen, and so that will be the screen that's being displayed, and we'll all be off screen. Although, even though when we're off screen, if our video's on, we're tiny at the bottom. If you look at the very bottom.
Gotcha. Okay.
So tiny, but so if we're sitting, we can still say the Pledge of Allegiance, even though we'll be muted. We'll still be on camera, even though we'll be tiny. Tiny counselors, we're all here.
Oh.
Is that consensus from council? Does that sound like a good plan, or does somebody have anything else to add on how we want to move forward with this?
I have a question.
Okay.
So would the pledge be before you open the meeting, or would you open the meeting and then we do the pledge? Where in the meeting would you like the pledge to fall? Before roll call, after roll call, or do you just want to start the meeting with the pledge and then open the meeting right after?
I think typically we open the meeting, we do the pledge, then we do roll call, which in council chambers, we don't necessarily do roll call. It's whoever's not here, they're not here because of such and such. So I think that's a good way to go for it. So open the meeting, Pledge of Allegiance, then go through roll call, if everybody's okay with that, or we can open with the pledge. But yeah, that kind of seems silly. We can't open with the pledge and then open the meeting. We need to open the meeting, then do the pledge. Is that good, Manager Amberg?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions, comments, anything that needs to be discussed going forward regarding the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, well, thank you guys so much. That was our only discussion item, and we will see you all in the June City Council meeting. Have a good night.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Right. Good night.